Welcome! Today we're going to be talking about the joy of cooking and eating real food. In case you're new or we haven't met, my name is Habiba, or Dr. Tanao to some of you, and I'm a U.S. trained internal medicine doctor or medical doctor and a wife and mother of 3. I'm also a writer and content creator who loves to share videos on YouTube about family and food, and I absolutely love to cook and entertain. I love sharing recipes on YouTube and on my blog. So I'm half Caribbean and half Nigerian, but I also consider myself American because I've been here since I was a teenager. And we used to live in New York, but my family and I have lived in North Carolina for the last 15 years. My objective today is to get you excited about real food, cooking from scratch while sharing some healthy eating tips. So whether you're a male or female, young or old, it is never too early or too late to start taking care of your body. I hope that at the end of this video you will have learned something new or helpful, or at least be inspired to cook something really nice. I would like to thank Miss LaMaurice Crawford for the opportunity to talk to you today and for inspiring this video. Knowing how to cook, I think, is such an important skill to have, and I've been fortunate that I learned to cook from a very young age. I remember cooking from about the age of 10. And so now I think it's really important that I share the skill with my children who are now adults or young adults, and they really enjoy a home-cooked meal. Typically, we don't eat out much. We tend to eat foods that we have purchased from the supermarket or grown in the garden. And so, again, I really think it's important to eat whole foods. Now, before we start talking about cooking, okay, let's go to the supermarket. Come along, we're going. Maybe you're thinking, I already like what I eat. I like eating out. I like fast food. Well, I'm hoping I'll change your mind a little. So let's go to the supermarket, and I chose to go to Food Line because I figure it wasn't fancy. It's like your typical supermarket in every small town in America, and I could go to a bougie one, but no, let's just go to a regular supermarket like Food Lion, okay? Now, before you go grocery shopping, my advice is make sure your stomach is full, because otherwise you're going to pick up things you don't need. So have a snack before you go to the store. And then you will avoid looking or picking up those donuts or those cakes or all of those things that have tons of sugar and tons of artificial ingredients in them. This is what I call pretty poison. They put that to attract you, okay? So you don't want that. It's not your birthday. It's not a special occasion. Stop looking at that. Instead, pick up some nice fresh strawberries or blackberries or raspberries or blueberries. Those are all heart healthy. Really good for you. You can use them in a dessert. You can use them on a salad. You can use them in a milkshake. You name it. That is what you call nature's candy. That's what you want. Not all of that poison. All right, let's pick up some garlic. Garlic is always healthy and good for you, and you'll always need garlic. Nuts are really healthy, especially almonds. They have a lot of iron. Phosphorus, magnesium, copper, and calcium. Pecans are also good. They have less fat, but they are not as nutritious as almonds. Bananas are great if you are physically fit and active, or if you're a growing child, but otherwise you got to be careful because they have a lot of sugar in them. Especially if you're diabetic, I would suggest only eating about half a banana. And of course, if you have kidney disease, you also have to be really careful and perhaps avoid them. And like I said before, raspberries, blueberries, they're all very heart healthy. Grapes also are not a bad snack instead of a cookie. How about some apples? Apples are a healthy snack. I always try to have as much fruits and vegetables in my diet on a daily basis. Now, what about mushrooms? Not everyone likes mushrooms, but I think they're a great alternative if you're trying to cut back on meat, because if you season them well, they can taste almost like meat. Of course, we like our citrus, and it's also nice to pick up maybe some lemons or limes. How about some onions and peppers? I always need this when I'm cooking. It just gives the stew a nice color and flavor. Having a Caribbean mom and an African dad, my favorite part of the supermarket is also where the tropical fruit are. I love pineapples. You know, pineapple juice is used in weight loss. And my weakness is plantain. So that's one thing I personally have to cut back on is sweet fried plantain. I love them. Love it, love it, love it. Those are papayas. You got to try that in a salad or when they're ripe in a dessert. I love also star fruit. My grandfather used to grow that. It has tons of vitamin C in it. Super delicious. Kiwis, as you know, are also very healthy for you. They also happen to have some coconuts, and they had some aloe vera, which is good for your skin and hair. They had some cucumbers, and I'm also going to pick up some scallions because you can never have enough vegetables when you're cooking, and we all need the fiber. And the cabbage. Cabbage is so healthy for you. It's very anti-inflammatory. It has a lot of antioxidants, and it's also good for your gut. They also have some butternut squash, which I love to put in soups. Oh, so good for you, so tasty. They also had some yuca, which I kind of avoid, but I do like yuca fries, but it can have a lot of calories because it's very starchy. Now they have like some good peppers. And I want to point out that the red peppers are a lot more healthy, believe it or not, than the green peppers, which is why the red ones are always more expensive because they have a ton more of vitamin C and nutrients in them than the green peppers. So I often buy a pack like that. If the price is good, I'll often buy a container of baby spinach or spring mix to make a salad. Now, when it comes to salad, you really have to be careful where the calories are coming from because a lot of times people don't actually lose weight when they eat salads because they're pouring a ton of creamy dressings on their salads, which defeats the purpose, right? Pay attention to what's in your salad dressing. A lot of them have a ton of artificial ingredients, and a lot of them are extremely fattening. So I suggest you try to make your own salad dressing every now and then. I mean, usually the basis of a salad dressing is some olive oil, some sort of citrus or something tangy like vinegar or apple cider vinegar, and then adding some spice to it, or maybe even a little bit of lemon juice. You can also try this zesty Italian dressing. I also tend to stay away from croutons because a lot of times they're salty. But yeah, be careful with the ranch dressing, which so many of us love. Now, of course, you went shopping, you want some protein. If you're really watching your weight or you're trying to be healthy, get chicken breast. Chicken breast is probably the healthiest protein you can eat besides fish. I tend to stay away from these really overly seasoned fish that have been pre-seasoned because they have a ton of salt and then other hands have touched them. You know, it's like they've been handled too many times. Now, I'm not a fan of red meat, but every now and then I'll see something I like to make a stew. Or these beef ribs, if you marinate them with some low sodium soy sauce and some ginger and garlic, so good. All right, let's talk about soda. It's filled with tons of sugar, tons of caffeine, tons of high fructose corn syrup. Now, if you're thinking, well, I only drink Sprite, which doesn't have caffeine. You're right, you don't have the caffeine, but you're getting a ton of sugar. So why are all these drinks so bad for us? Like I said, high fructose corn syrup. It is a terrible ingredient. It's not natural. It is a highly processed ingredient that is introduced into these drinks. Pay attention to the labels. You really don't want this in your body. As for Mountain Dew, it's the worst. Tons more caffeine than all the other sodas and tons more sugar and high fructose corn syrup. So what's the big deal about high fructose corn syrup? Like I said, it's not a naturally occurring product. It goes to your liver and then it triggers lipogenesis, which just means that you start building up a lot of fat, which develops into fatty liver, and then you get elevated triglycerides. Over time, you destroy the lining of your intestine, and that's what causes inflammation, which then causes other chronic diseases. So it is just a domino of effect. Drink water. Drink water is the key. Drink water. You will never go wrong with water. Also, do your best to avoid these sugary drinks or often fake juices full of colors, full of additives, full of high fructose corn syrup. They're not good for you. Always look at the labels and also look at the price. Look at the unit price. That one says $165, right? The retail is $329. That's 100% apple juice. Now, when you start looking at the cheaper bottles, you'll see the unit price goes down. That's 74.5 cents per bottle. And then look at this one. A whole big bottle for 52.3 cents. Do you really think something that cheap is going to have real ingredients in it? Absolutely not. It's all fake. Drink your water, girls and guys. Drink your water, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, this is something I cannot stand to see people eat. It has got tons of salt. The stuff is bad for you, especially if you have high blood pressure. So, the moral of the story, stay away from the middle aisles unless you really have something important to get there. Now, you're probably wondering, why would these stores sell all of this food to you if it's not healthy, if it's not good for you? Well, because they are in the business of making money. They are in the business of getting you to buy things that you will find rather addictive and buy again. They are not in the business of making you healthy. It is your responsibility to pick up what you know is good for your body. For the most part, I would also avoid the freezer sections, especially when it comes to these TV dinners and instant food. It's all bad for you. Go home and try to cook something quick and simple. You can do it. The only reason you belong in this section is if you're getting frozen vegetables or maybe some ice cream. I hope the next time you're in the supermarket, you're a lot more critical and looking at the labels and paying attention to all the ingredients that are going in your body, because a lot of them are really unhealthy for you. Now, for those of you thinking, well, I just don't have time to cook, or I can't cook, or it's not convenient for me, or it's more expensive to cook, which it isn't. It's a lot cheaper to buy the ingredients from scratch than it is to constantly order out. But what I will say to you is that what you think is cheap now will cost you later. Being sick or being in the hospital or having doctor's visits, as you know from having family members, is very expensive. Why do that to yourself? Prevention is better than cure. So do what you can to take care of your body now. I suggest that you get a nice, good cookbook. You can go to a discount store like Ollie's. I know most areas have discount stores like Ollie's, and pick up a nice or good cookbook that inspires you. You can also find recipes on YouTube, on the internet for free. So there really is no excuse to get excited about cooking your own food. Like I said in the beginning, you're never too old to learn to cook, and you're never too young to start cooking. So I think we all have to be a lot more responsible when it comes to putting certain ingredients in our body. Every spring, I get really excited about planting my own tomatoes and peppers and greens. And that's why I love living in North Carolina, because you can do that. Now, don't get me wrong, my diet does not consist only of fruits and vegetables. In fact, I am definitely one of those people who loves a good dessert. But this is what I do. I tell myself that as long as I make the dessert, then I'm allowed to eat it. And I don't do it that often. So if you've been following me here on YouTube, you would have seen several dessert videos like this apple pie that I made. Now, this is my take on McDonald's apple pie. So instead of going to McDonald's and buying, the apple pie that's got a whole bunch of other ingredients in it, I'm going to make my own. Not only is it fun, but it's great knowing exactly what ingredients I'm putting in my body, because I get to decide what the recipe will look like. And so if I choose to use a gluten-free dough instead of regular wheat dough, that's what I can do. And I also tend to put less sugar in my recipes than would be found if I had bought it, from some restaurant or fast food place. This homemade apple pie was so delicious, you guys, so delicious, and my family really enjoyed it. Because of my Caribbean and British influence, I grew up drinking tea, and I find drinking tea to be part of my self-care. It just helps relax me, and along with tea comes dessert. During the holiday season, I make a lot of Caribbean black cake, and into the fall and also during the springtime, there are a lot of different desserts that I make. That's some delicious bread pudding, and this was a cream and jello fruit parfait that I made. Isn't that pretty? But you get the point. I make dessert. I am not deprived just because I want to eat healthy. But I also believe that it's important to include a lot of vegetables in your diet. And whenever possible, grow your own food. If you have the luxury of having land, I see no reason why you should not include a lot of fruits and vegetables on your land. If you don't have land, then obviously you are restricted to what you can buy in the supermarket. But it's very important that you include as much fruits and vegetables in your diet. I would also say that I am talking to people who don't have any major medical problem, because I know that if you have a major medical problem, that perhaps your diet has to be modified. So to all the young people out there who are young and healthy, do your best to encourage your family and friends to eat real food, to eat things that are good for you, and to pay attention to what you put in your body. The next time you plan to eat, ask yourself, what would the best version of myself want to eat today? And am I promoting health or am I promoting disease? But it takes a lot of discipline to be responsible, doesn't it? And to the parents out there, just remember, cooking should be fun. You don't have to be perfect. Just make sure that it's fun for your children and that you learn to cook with them early. Cook with them early. Let them feel comfortable in the kitchen and take an initiative while cooking. Especially your sons. It should not just be something that your daughters are required to learn to do. Your sons should learn to cook as well. There's nothing sexier than a young man who can cook for himself. And one day he'll make a great spouse. So again, remember to teach your children how to cook and feel comfortable in the kitchen. Now, my final tips when it comes to cooking or cooking at home is, number one, if you don't know how to cook, that you should find some resources to help you learn and start now. Don't wait till you're older and suffering from illnesses related to poor diet like diabetes, hypertension, colon cancer, severe constipation, diverticulosis, morbid obesity. Don't wait till you have these problems to learn how to cook. Start now. Number two, if you're not happy with your health or your weight, I would make changes today. Start small and be consistent. Even if you don't see immediate results, it takes time. Just be gentle on yourself. Number three, avoid fast food and try to eat a balanced meal. Try to eat a balanced meal. Get your fruits and vegetables. Make sure you're incorporating some heart-healthy ingredients like nuts and berries and salmon and ingredients like that. Also remember that nutrition is important, but it goes hand in hand with exercise. So make sure you're getting enough exercise, whether it's walking or light aerobics or light weights and cardio. And you might want to check out My Fitness Pal to help assist you. And of course, make sure you're talking with your medical provider or your physician to make sure that you're cleared to do this. But again, physical fitness is as important as your nutrition. When it comes to vegetables, eat as much as possible. But in general, just pay attention to your portion control, because a lot of us claim to eat well, but we are eating way too much, way too much of what we should be eating. So be careful with that. Also remember that when you eat is as important as what you eat. So make sure that you're eating early enough in the day so that you allow yourself time to burn the calories, and that you're not eating a heavy meal and going straight to bed, or eating and shortly after, laying down. So you want to make sure that you are burning the calories sufficiently. Also, don't forget that sleep is important. Make sure that you're getting enough sleep. You're eating well, you're getting some exercise, and you're getting enough rest, because your body needs all of that. Another of my final tips is to really avoid sweet, sugary juices, soda, and alcohol, and just try to drink more water. If you must, feel free to flavor your water with natural fruit juices or cucumber or lemon or lime, or make your own fruit juice, and make sure that you dilute it sufficiently so that it's not too sweet. But overall, I hope that you can see that I really love to cook. I love to share recipes with friends and family, and I love food. But in the end, as much as I love food, I love my health and body even more. So it's really important for me to be careful about what I put in my body and how much of it I put in my body. But like all of you, I am human, and sometimes I can overindulge a little. So anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I hope that you found it helpful, and I hope that you are inspired to go home and cook something for your family, or maybe to even just cook something for yourself. Thanks again to Ms. Crawford for inspiring this video, which I hope you enjoyed. If you like food-related content, wholesome family videos, then I suggest you subscribe to Kenton and Habiba. I will be here waiting for you with some more delicious videos. I'm wishing you the best of health, and I hope you get to cook something delicious today. Bye!